Oh, we're live. Hello. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Whiskey Untitled. I know what you're thinking. Where's the whiskey? I've got it right here. I don't know what's going on in today's episode. I think we're going to be talking about your evolving palate and how it's changed over time and how you've gone from, drinking bourbon to actually becoming a human and drinking, Scotch whiskey.
Come on.
I think I can only hear it
Sure.
through your thing.
That could be it.
That was really cruel to insult all you bourbon people just a second ago. I didn't mean it. What I meant was,
He meant it. He meant it.
I just mean that bourbon's a little more boring. That's all I meant.
I think it's just. We'll probably go through this later. It's different, like the process. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Correct. I shaved my mustache off for a wedding because I had to shoot a wedding and I was tired of getting mustache hairs in my mouth while I was talking and eating. So
Huh. Interesting.
I went Amish.
Yeah, that does look very Amishy. So what's in your glass today? Since it's a whiskey show, man. What you got? That looks very dark. That's probably why. The Glentoshire. That was the one that we picked up, or you picked up when we were in Scotland, right?
Look how dark that is.
No, that's
Look,
nuts.
you can barely see my hand behind it. So good. It's very delicious.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, and that was just like a random pickup too. It wasn't like you were going
It
in
was. I
there
was just
for
really, really in
anything.
the mood to pick up something weird, and it looked super dark, and I was hoping that it was going to be super sherried, and I was super, I was super excited. I just read Eric's comment. I'm so sorry. Super excited.
Wow. All right, Eric.
I was super excited to pick up a super sherried bottle, and plus I'd never heard of Glentocker, so I really wanted to try something just different and from a different distillery.
Yeah.
Something with a note that I didn't know anything about, and this was a bomb. This is super good. So I'm glad I picked it up.
Yeah. No, that was a welcome surprise.
It was indeed. What's in your glass?
In my glass, I got Westland's Port Finish. 3786. Yeah, they don't usually do port finishes. Usually these ones are more fun, different. Let's try something new. So I was glad to be able to get a bottle of this. It is almost halfway done. It's not. I don't know. It's pretty close to as dark as your one is, but it is amazing. The port wine definitely gives that body and thickness to it. So, are you sad that you didn't pick a second bottle of that one?
I am. I really wish I had grabbed a second bottle because it would have been super sick. But you do what you gotta do.
I wonder if people might still have them there.
I thought about asking somebody to grab one for me, but I'm like, so half the fun and appeal of new bottles like this is getting to get a new bottle and then never getting another one again.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
It just makes me want to cry. So yeah, so that's where we are.
No, that didn't change it. Sorry.
What are you trying to change?
Our chat is not
Oh, why is it
seeable
broken?
anymore. It's not
It's
as
broken.
So it used to be a code you can change in the
But
the
now I
body?
need to move the screen up, and oh, that's really weird.
so Wally can't see you guys can't see this, but Wally can, and you can actually see like this is actually a CSS of
Yeah,
how to
CSS code.
break it down.
You
And
just need to change the size of both the chat thing on the bottom and the top chat part
Yeah.
and move those. We
so
can do that some other
we'll do it another time, but apologize.
Gosh.
So I might just turn off chat so no one can see
Christian
it.
is absolutely correct. Just like Eric,
yeah.
manscaping has evolved with time. There have been a lot of things. It's like that movie,
Okay.
She's Out of Your League, where that one dude is shaving that other dude's nuts, and it's just weird. It's
All right.
a change. I don't know what to say. It's Tuesday. I don't know what's going on.
so-
I changed my life. It's really freaking me out.
So have you picked up any bottles recently?
No,
No
Goodness.
bottles. I
actually,
have
yeah.
not. I've been picking up a lot of beers lately.
I unfortunately have also been picking up a lot of beers.
Changing this, eh? I'm using
I don't know what's going on with me and beer.
No,
I don't know.
Well, I
Uh,
think you're at the point where you're trying to find similar beers to what you like. I already know what I like, so I want to try different versions of that. I actually tried a habanero one recently, and that was crazy good.
Yeah, that sounds gross.
Oh man, that heat just like it sits there and then makes you want to grab another drink, another sip. It's awesome.
That's not even my worst part about beers, though. It seems like I'm trying to find beers that are a little more fruity, but I don't know. There's
Hazy
something
IPAs,
about,
man.
No, but like
Hazy
what do you call
fruit
it?
IPAs.
Ales. Something
Okay.
about ales. And I did a little bit of research, unfortunately, while I was sitting at a place called World of Beer with some friends, and I didn't want to look up things about beer because I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that stouts and ales for some reason really, I don't know, just agree with my palate, and I can get into them. So
I can see stouts, like especially with the cigars you're smoking too.
so many of the stouts though are like super dark, rich, and chocolatey,
Yeah.
and they're just almost caramel, and they're so
Hey,
good.
Richie.
What's up, Richie?
Man, Eric, wait, 18 bottles back home. How many bottles did you bring from our?
I think it's close to the same. No, I think I only brought like back 13.
Yeah, I'm like 18. That's nuts, Eric. Wait,
Poop ton. How big was that suitcase?
I
Where
wa-
did you put your clothes?
I don't think he wore any clothes. He was just naked all the time.
Nice. Typical. Well, actually, that explains the manscaping.
Yeah, manscaping Eric. Wait, man, done.
A lot.
So this week's topic is basically talking about how our journey, our whiskey journeys, evolved from when we started beginner stage, as you want to call it, and then migrated to where we are, influencers, people in the industry, reviewers, whatever. Like someone that's trying to help others grow. Just there's no real word for it.
All right. So, personally, palate-wise, that's where I started. So I might. So when you texted me about this topic, I was
Yeah.
like, my experience isn't like everybody else's.
No,
Mine's
and that's
really
why. That's why I'm like saying like
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like I didn't start with any of that because I started off the bat with I really want to help people save money. I don't want to spend $100.
So is that why you picked whiskey? No, you had to like it first, right?
No,
So you didn't like it, and you're just like, I want to help people out.
I didn't really know anything about it. I just wanted to take a journey and
Okay.
then help people along the way who are going through the same journey because I figured I can't be the only one going through that journey.
Mhm.
And it's been super, super helpful to a lot of people apparently.
So how did I know we talked about this before, but like, did you ever see a transition of where your palate came, like from what you liked before?
Oh, I mean, it's gotten a lot better because I've sat down. That has to do with intentionality, though. So, like,
Okay.
spending the time to be intentional and try to really taste details and flavors and try to really pick flavors out and pull flavors that just came with
So
practice and time.
did you target that? Like, I want to be able to do this. Like, that was your.
I decided I want to
Okay.
be better at this. I mean, that's how I am with like every weird hobby that I do.
Yeah.
in my
See,
life.
like, so for me, it was different, right? So it was like it was first started. I was like, I like, or people suggested Japanese whiskey. It was at the start of the whole Japanese phase. Everyone kind of like you read on forums and stuff like that. It's like, oh, everyone should try this because this is the up and coming group of whiskeys, right? And then I just more like, oh, I want to try something different, new, but in my beginner stage or my lighter stage, so nothing like heavily peated, heavily sherried or anything like that, more lighter whiskeys. And then it started evolving. It was like, oh, people were engaging in the posts I was doing. Maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously. So then it started evolving. Oh, like people like you, the real, the Scotch Test Dummies, and others were basically saying, hey, I get these different flavors out, which I would never have thought. Like, why would you get this and that? And or like Nutellas and different types of chocolate, not dark chocolate or light chocolate, like those kind of levels.
like milk chocolate or dark chocolate.
Yeah, and then it made me think like,
Absolutely.
oh, this is actually a thing. Like, I'm not weird if I thought of this, but then I just went to like apples. Then people said it's Gala apples, Fuji apples, and like, oh, move on. And that's what's interesting. Like, I personally don't think that a lot of people dive into that. Like, I need to find all these flavors. It's more like, oh, I didn't notice that my palate's getting more mature, and then I'm picking up different flavors than I used to.
I think that's like anything else, right? Like you have people in life who will try a new thing, and they'll do it just enough to like. I see the same thing in beer. Okay.
Okay.
So to get super weird with it, like sitting down with my friends and reading about different kinds of beer and different kinds of ale and different kinds of yeast strains and how it's used and what makes a lambic beer versus a lager beer. Like I couldn't believe that it was that complex, but I don't want it to be that complex, right?
Oh yeah, I got you.
I'm trying to approach beer like a regular person, which I've already broken the seal for doing that because I can't do anything like a normal person. But what I wanted to do is just drink stuff that tastes good and enjoy it, and then try some other stuff.
Or things that you
Find
like.
what I like.
Yeah.
Correct. So my friends got samplers. They both got flights, and I just tried a little bit of each of the things in their flights, and I only found two that I liked. And then I started, I'm just trying to correlate
What were those
like, what it
two?
is that I like.
Yeah.
Right. What do I like and what do I not like? Also, temperature differences by accident with one of the beers.
Some of the ales are better warm
was like,
and stuff like that.
This thing was weird. It was like grapefruit sour when it was cold, and then as it got warmer, it tasted super like
soury.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
It was so gross. But I mean, like that's like anything else, right? I'm trying to find the stuff that I like, and I wish that I didn't jump all the way into it like everything else I do, but I'm afraid that I will by accident.
I think it just happens, right? Yeah, like
no, because some people don't. Some people will try something for 5 minutes and then quit.
No,
like some people will literally start an Instagram on whiskey and then stop.
Oh no, I agree. I've seen a lot of that, but like, so I noticed yesterday when I went out to try some beers with some people, like I started picking out all these flavors. You know what I mean? Like, and I remembered when I used to do beers and stuff. Beer was beer. You didn't really think about it. You get maybe a 1-2 note and kind of stuff. Like, oh, it's crisp, it's light, it's this or that. Sour. And then I just started naming off all these flavors right off the bat. And then everyone was just like, oh shit, yeah, I get this. And I'm like, oh crap, I become one of those people now. And you know, like in whiskey, I understand.
Because the goal is to do it better, right? Even if you're not trying to do it on purpose, like if you're just trying to get better at something, naturally you'll try to get better at other things that you try to do.
Yeah.
Like Christian is saying like sour Kool-Aid, but it wasn't like sour Kool-Aid. It was like nasty warm grapefruit juice, but like kicked up a notch in the sour department.
I've had some ones where like they're super sour, that it's intolerable for some.
But then like I had another one that was called Fruity Strawberry Ale, and it literally tasted like strawberry foamy soap, which was really, really weird.
Huh.
It's like anything else. And Eric, good for you for quitting wine and switching to whiskey, because nobody.
At least you tried sobriety, man. Just glad you tried it.
Exactly, you beat sobriety.
Yeah.
Not everybody does that.
But yeah, no, it's just interesting because like I never, and I think we talked about this like maybe last year or whatever. Like I would never think that my palate would get to there, but then it's not like it just hits you. It just after a while you're like, oh, you lock on to these flavor notes that they're now in your memory bank where you can like, oh, this reminds me of this. And that's why a lot of reviewers, like even me, like I pull in situations now. Like some of the Highland Park stuff, I remember the stuff that we went to, like the smell of that Highland Park and
absolutely.
Like that it brings things back, and it's weird.
No, but it's good because it means you can cross-reference things in your mind.
Yeah.
Like when I sit down with certain beers, I'm like, man, this really tastes like malt. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, this tastes like fermentation tanks. Like I've smelled this before. I've stood in places where like you can literally breathe.
And there's malt beer too, so liquor. So yeah,
it's interesting. So
but,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I would say down below, but you guys are not there today. But in chat, we can see chat. Let us know how you guys feel about your journey. Are you starting picking up more flavors now than you used to, or what's the reverse?
In chat, and also tell us what's in your glass because I know you guys are sipping too.
What's in your glass? But yeah, no, it was just a topic because like I know a lot of people, especially like when I did the tasting and stuff like that, I said, oh, I tasted this. And everyone's like, oh, man, I could never taste this. Or how, must have taken you forever to do this. I'm like, sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it just takes one whiskey. Like, I never really tasted, like, grassy whiskey until you let me have Brienne.
Yeah.
And, like, and then in my head, like, it just, like, now when I think about a grassy stuff, it goes that. And then I pull that with beers now. Some beers just taste really vegetal, very grassy.
Yeah.
And it's like... And like
I didn't want to mow the lawn and then eat the clippings.
Yeah, it's interesting, but the message is out there is like it just takes time and effort. Like, and if people say you're supposed to taste like that's totally wrong. No one should tell you how you're supposed to taste. Yeah, like some people say
like Charles is like I get Nutella on toast, and I sipped the same bottle that he sent me, and I was like nope.
I know it's interesting, and it's how all these different factors, and I just want to put this video out there to show the people that hey, it takes time and effort. And some people are good. Like you said, you had one friend that could smell like anything, right?
Oh yeah, I have a friend who's got a super palate. So like I'm uncomfortable. So there are times when I can't figure out a flavor. I'll let him try some, and he'll be like, "Oh, that's a permanent marker," and I'm like, "Holy piss! It tastes like permanent marker." He's right. Like it's so good. It's, I mean that's like anything else. It's like a muscle. If you practice it, get better at it. So I think that's why I sit down with different kinds of whiskeys and I try different ones side by side. Yeah. So I get better myself at like how do I figure out what this is and what this is.
Yeah, for me right now, like so Kevin says that he's jealous of folks that can name 10 tastes with 1 or 2 sips. Like for me, it takes a while. Like I have to go probably halfway through the dram and then I start like you can probably pick out the core flavors, but I can't pick out 10. Can you pick out 10 off the bat?
So it depends.
Because it changes, right?
One, some whiskeys don't have 10 flavors to show off. And 2, sometimes some whiskeys, for whatever reason, as soon as I taste them, it's like, this is everything I'm getting.
Oh, gotcha.
But some whiskeys, okay, I'll never forget. So Caveman Solus Vino Barrique. The first time I sat down and sipped it, my mind exploded, and I was literally like, I was
Wine,
like, no,
plums,
I was
fruits.
like,
Yeah,
no,
like,
wait.
yeah.
And there were so many different flavors.
Gotcha.
I couldn't do anything. Actually, the permanent marker was in some Balblair, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But like I literally sat down with Vino Barrique, and I'm like, to this day, it's still one of my favorites because every time I sit down with it, no matter how hard I try, I can't name all the flavors that I'm tasting. It just gets more and more overwhelming. And if you have ADD and you like tasting, like Vino Barrique's a bad idea. You're just gonna like your brain will just lock up.
Yeah.
And you'll just be like.
And like Richie, like there is is it too bright? You can see a flavor wheel. I want to turn off this light, but
just back it up. All you gotta do is back it up instead of turning the light up.
No, still won't. It still won't.
Everybody knows what a flavor wheel looks
No,
like.
but like
always,
this thing confused the fuck out of me, man. Like linger, balance, fruit, citrus, floral. Like it gets way too confusing. You like flavor wheels? Are you a fan of them?
How do you use a flavor wheel properly? So a flavor wheel should start in the middle as being very basic. So it'd be like floral, smoky, fruity, earthy.
You see that one?
As it expands, it gets more and more complex. So that's not a good flavor wheel. A good flavor wheel will start in the middle very simple, and then as it gets to one level out, it gets a little more complex, and then when it gets to the third level out, it names like specific flavors. So you're finding like, oh, is this fruity and sour? And then it'll give you options.
Another
like,
one? Okay, I got you.
Like raspberries, blackberries, certain kinds of berries. Like fruity and sour would be like, certain types
So it's
of
not even a
sour.
flavor wheel, it's like a flavored tree. It starts...
Yes, a lot of them are in circles, so that helps a lot. It's funny because the coffee world, people use this all the time because it helps a lot.
Oh, really?
Because with coffee, you get sweet, sour, earthy, depending on which direction you're going.
And then you follow that trail to wherever it ends up.
So that's the thing. It's like it helps you. So in the beginning, you need a flavor wheel so that you can look at it and go, oh, that's exactly what I'm tasting. But later on, you'll just be able to recall, like, oh my gosh, that tastes just like such and such.
Okay.
Like, I really feel sad for Rasse, or whatever the distillery's called, because they sent me that bottle, and I tasted it, and I'm sitting there, and for, like, just the first sip, I'm like, man, this is familiar. I take that second sip, and I'm like, oh, it's Highland Park. So I asked them, I was like, hey, is this Highland Park? Because it tastes, the peat is identical, the same.
So they're using heather peat, so it's not Scapa?
So it could be Scapa, and that's the thing. I just asked them, hey, is this Highland Park? And they were like, nope, it's not Highland Park. And I'm like, well, who else is on that island?
Yes.
No,
it's interesting.
It's kind of, but that's the thing. Like, so what I wanted.
Does Scapa use heathered peat?
No, but it's there and available. So, if you're gonna, so there's the thing. Way too many thoughts happening at one time. So Alexander Murray & Co., who bottles for Kirkland.
Yes.
I've talked to them a million times about stuff, right? And sometimes they'll tell me about certain distilleries that they get stuff from, and I'm like, well, I didn't even know that distillery makes things in this style, and so that's really cool. So just because you're a distillery and you're known for one house style doesn't mean you don't have barrels that turn out like another style.
Oh yeah,
that
for sure.
You can absolutely sell to some independent bottler and let them bottle them. Yeah. Call something. So good.
Yeah, I got another flavor wheel here. Let me see if I have it available. But no, that's...
Oh yeah, Richie. There's tons of flavor wheels on. If you type in flavor
wheel, you
on
should
Google,
get it. Yeah.
You'll get everything you ever
I gotta figure out, like, there's a group of guys on Instagram that actually do a flavor wheel, and you can print out a copy of their thing.
Eric, did you?
It's not a flavor wheel. Maybe it's flavor notes.
That's legit.
Yeah, I met the owners of Rasse Distillery. Oh, that's cool.
It's a lot cooler through their Instagram. Like they posted a musician today who was playing music. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Rappers.
Seaweed rappers are the oddest notes from Brian. That's not weird, dude.
I can see that though. I wouldn't say that's weird. I can see that.
I would say like that's like Lefroy all the way. They're like Ardbeg Kelpie. That's why they named it Kelpie.
Yeah.
Is Kirkland an acceptable IB? So Kevin, yes, Kirkland is all bottled by Alexander Murray & Co. And I'm sure you've seen their stuff around.
Yeah.
Like you've seen it in all the Total Wines and everywhere in America.
Yeah.
Jura, I like how they're changing. I didn't like their old stuff, but their new stuff is really...
Yeah, I'm excited. I might be able to get some from our mutual friend, so... Here's to hoping. No, it's like... And that's where I feel as though a lot of people poo-poo on, like, older brands that people don't like anymore. Jura's probably one of them, Dalmore's the other one. And that's
that's you just named two white
guys. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why. It's just like it seems like those two brands, and that's why I want to try them more because I'm like, why do the greater audience not like those? Like, I love single bottle Dalmores. They're amazing.
Oh, that's single barrel doesn't. That's not fair. That's never fair.
Oh, come on.
Especially for
that means they can do it though. Like they're not even finishing them. They can do it.
Means that they have freak casks that put out something that you like. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, guys, in the comments down below, make sure to give us a like and let us.
It's 40 minutes.
No, it's not 30 minutes yet.
Oh,
I was telling
I was
people to
like,
give us a like. Calm down.
I was like, oh my gosh,
Calm down.
that
We're
was
like
fast. Wait.
where is it?
Oh,
We're at 20
is that
minutes.
frozen?
We're at 20 minutes.
Is this broken?
No.
Dude,
But yeah, make sure to give us a like, guys. It helps us a lot because that means we get to pop up on different people's feeds all the time.
do likes help us? I didn't know that.
They do.
I
Yeah.
don't really listen.
If people downvote us, then no one's gonna see it. So thanks, guys, if you downvote us.
What is this, Reddit?
I know, right? But yeah, no, like it's interesting. I just want to talk about it because like I didn't realize that that's how your journey was. Your goal was to be able to pull flavors out, while mine was more of like, oh, that just happens with time.
Richie Z. So Alexander Murray & Co. is sold under Alexander Murray & Co. at Total Wine.
Yep.
Grangestone is Total Wine's house brand where they IB, but they actually sell Alexander Murray & Co. in Total Wine under Alexander Murray & Co. instead of under Kirkland.
You know how Kirkland is, right? That's their Costco brand, like you said, yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because sometimes Costco also sells Alexander Murray & Co. bottles, so it's all over the place.
I wonder. I didn't know
Their
Total Wine had their own stuff.
Total Wine has Grangestone, so I don't trust their ratings for it, but I have had a couple and they've been decent.
Okay.
So I don't know where they source from or how they source. I've tried asking before. They are not friendly.
That's weird. I thought they want to share.
I mean, most IBs don't want to share. Most of what I know from Alexander Murray & Co. has been on the low.
True. Do you think that's gonna change?
Yeah.
Like, well,
15-year-old 1999 Dalmore from
so like the
Alexander
other thing I was thinking about is how there was a new Scotch Malt Whisky Society, the outturn, and a lot of times tell me how you guys everyone in the chat and stuff look at it. I start looking at what the cast is, and then I start looking what the brand. If I like it, like, oh, the cast sounds good, then I look at the brand.
I do both. It depends on, like, I don't know.
I do both as well, but like, what do you go through first?
If the flavors they say are good, and I read through them and I'm like, oh, those are interesting flavors. Like cast type is.
I don't even read the flavors anymore. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
I don't. That's not that I don't trust it. They're so whimsical with their stuff. I think it's a lot of bullshit.
No. Here's the problem. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So just like talking about this whole show, right?
Yeah.
You pick out different flavors. I pick out different flavors. So imagine now you're Scotch Malt Whisky Society, and you have 12 people on your panel. What are you going to write on the back of those bottles and for the descriptions online? Are you going to write Dave's description, or are you going to write Dave, John, Chris, Wendy, and Martha's descriptions? Because when you put them all together, it sounds incredible. Because there's so many
positives there, yeah.
And that's the problem, is everybody's palate is so different. Just have a think about buying
Kevin
whiskey
might
from
want to
Costco.
change that, man. Wally, I think, has a few posts of some Kirkland whiskeys that he
You
really
can be
liked.
snob if you want, but I've killed a bottle of Kirkland 40, and I have a second bottle waiting. So, and it also tastes like cantaloupe, which is absolutely
I think
incredible.
people at Total Wine get a commission if they sell their own bottles because they get more profit out of it. So
I don't know if it's true. And actually, I know a Total Wine employee that recognizes me every time I go in there and I scotch and stuff. I'll ask that kid. His name's Michael. It's so weird.
hey, Michael.
Every time I go in there, he's like, "Hey."
Yeah, no, like for me, like it just I didn't realize it till today that I just went straight through to casts. I was like, what casts? And that's where it's like as you all know, like I'm a big fan of port, then the sherry stuff. So like I'll look for those first fill sherry or first fill port or whatever, and then start marking them. Okay, I want to look at this one, look at this one, look at this one, and then figure out. You know, a lot of times if it's a Macallan or something, you know the price is gonna be jacked up. I know they say that it's not. It's definitely jacked up. Like $400, $500. Like
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, Kevin, Steve, very funny. Kevin,
Do what you want, man.
For just Costco just does such a good job with quality stuff. You just really need to just read reviews, and that's what it comes down to. So, you know, are there bottles that I don't like from there? Absolutely, but
maybe push
like,
Wally to do more reviews from Kirkland.
They had one called Bon Accord, which is like Good Agreement, and I thought it would be questionable at $25, and it's like one of my favorite ones they ever put out, and it's so
Damn,
weird.
$25.
It's just super friendly, fruity,
Yeah.
and floral in such a great way. I mean, it's too oily to be Japanese whiskey, but it's so friendly.
And I wouldn't say
It's
like,
just like
worry about price either, because they just have such large buying power that they can do that price. Like that's
So Costco has such large buying power. They tell everyone what their markup is, and I believe for alcohol there it's 15% only. There is no.
Yeah.
You don't get to mark up anymore. You do it at 15%, or we don't carry your product.
Yeah.
And like they can say we will sell X number of thousands of dollars. Right now, my Costco has a Balvenie 50, and last Christmas they had 2 M's. They had 2 M's and maybe a dozen reflections. They
Damn.
have money and they have power.
and people are buying it too.
Heck yeah, and they pay their employees well. There's 1,000 reasons to like Costco. That's a whole different issue. Neither here nor there.
Yeah. No, it's interesting too, because like you
It's
can,
been worked off this portfolio.
because a lot of points is like that's where like for us nowadays where we are, I wouldn't say heavily, but we're pretty close to heavy on buying independent bottlers. Like that's just I think where you migrate to, because then you want unique, different, and
I think yeah, you definitely want something different after a while.
where they tell me where.
Eric is so freaking ridiculous.
I'm actually worried that Eric actually does this stuff, and that's why he manscapes
I'm
there.
sad that chat's not showing up at the bottom of the screen, so everybody else can't read that. But Eric just wrote, every time I go into Total Wine and More, they tell me I have to wear pants in order to shop. #discrimination.
By the way,
which is amazing.
if you go to the left of Wally, you will see chat there, so they will actually see it playing. They just won't see it down.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so they'll still
Never
see
mind.
it.
I feel dumb.
Nah, it's just we've had it there for so long.
Somebody read that gem of a comment.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, no, it's just
You're right.
it's just interesting because like I had a basically epiphany yesterday. It was like I can't believe I just started blurting out flavors and I didn't think I was there yet. It was just weird, and that's why I wanted to figure out how you were.
It's like anything else. If you think that's what you're tasting, throw it out there, and somebody else probably will be tasting the same thing. And if not, who cares?
Yeah, no,
Like,
it was
it's-
interesting because I got this and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like I didn't see that or didn't taste that, and then move on. So.
Yeah, now imagine that you're interviewing David Stewart with a bottle of 50-year Balvenie, and he's saying things, and you're literally like, I'm not getting that, bro.
It is kind of funny, like, especially with people
It
that
is.
have been drinking this all the time. They're like, I'm already past the basic notes, guys. Like, that's done. I get these little guys, these little nuggets of information.
Yeah, but some whiskeys just aren't that exciting, and they're not that complex. Some are really boring. Like, so last week and this week, I've been posting weird bottles on my shelf that I don't think anybody cares about on Instagram.
Yeah.
So today was Cardew 12, which is very boring. It tastes like malt, with a touch of fruitiness, nothing really distinguishable. It's very boring. Maybe like fruit salad kind of, just very vanilla. Then last week I posted, there were two. There was the Glengarry 12, which is very boring, super malty. And then there was one more too, but it just made me realize there's so many bottles that I purchased to save people money, and they just sit on the shelf for me because they're not adding anything to the conversation of whiskey, which some of the bigger brands have figured out how to do with even boring flavor profiles. Like I give Glenfiddich a lot of credit a lot of times because even their 12 has some excitement to it. It's not just boring malt.
I don't believe it's boring malt, but it's definitely like I want to say one hit, but it's definitely a minimal hit thing. But that's 12.
Eric, berries in the Glenlivet 12.
Yeah.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
What's up, Multi Montreal? But yeah, no, like I didn't know about this brand. Is it the While We Wait? Not the brand, but the.
Oh, the rest. Yeah, that's the new one. But that's the one. It's just like Highland Park.
It was
like,
interesting.
I'm down and compare that to Highland Park because they taste identical and it's really creepy. No gooseberry today. No. Schnozberries are schnozberries. You definitely got to lick the walls, man.
Oh man. But no, I was like, yeah, let us know about your journey below in the comments. I'd love to just hear from you guys and see what you guys have gone through because there's a lot of us in the chat and a lot of us on Instagram. Like, how I think this is around people's 3rd to 5th year on Instagram now, around that time. So a lot of us are maturing in that sense because you're at 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of
like 4.
4. Yeah.
3.
So a lot of us are maturing in that sense, and I personally believe there's a lot of people in Instagram that used to know a lot about this stuff, and then now they're just basically getting on. While me, I just basically started, and that Instagram pushed me to show off more of my stuff or what I have. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
But yeah.
Kevin, I agree with you completely. There's some whiskey that's not complex but very drinkable. Again, like I have some that are not complex. They may be super one-noted, but they're exactly what you need to drink sometimes.
Do you have like a bottle like just I don't want to think, I just want to drink? One note wondery kind of things, like just, or do you always have to have like a complex?
So this is gonna sound horrible, but Yamazaki 12 to me is like
bubblegum.
Yamazaki 12 and Ren 10 to me are both like, oh, I just want something sweet, fruity, floral, and I don't want to think.
Yeah.
And to me, I can pour those in a glass or make a cocktail and not think twice about them. It's probably horrible.
No, I'm assuming a lot of people have that.
This is funny. So, Alton de Montreal said he's sipping on Black Heart 6-1. So, not to knock Bruichladdich, I love a lot of what they put out, but their Black Arts 5-1 to me, You want to talk about something that tastes plain, and I would not spend $365
You said 5-1,
on?
right?
Yeah, 5.1 just tastes like Jolly Ranchers.
What if you into Jolly Ranchers?
Yeah,
Right?
you better be real into Jolly Ranchers to spend
$300 on
$365.
It's like, yeah, here's some Jolly Rancher like syrup or something. Yeah.
Yeah, trying some of Jack Rose saved me a lot of money. I think I spent like $20, but it saved me a lot of money because I was like, man, this is really not
like,
exciting.
and I know we say this a lot, but if you guys are starting into this whiskey thing, go to bars, try stuff out because it saves you. Like, I would have saved a crap load of money.
Malted in Montreal, I would agree with you if I could make some exceptions. There are some caveats.
I know, man. That Milson is pretty good. Quinta Ruban's pretty good.
Our juice is definitely not complex and drinkable, but it's meh. Glenmoe at cast strength, baller. The 10 at cast strength was super good. Glenmoe finished casks, like their private editions, not just the finished cast, but the finished cast series is good, I think, for beginners, especially because it adds like a touch of complexity that even a bourbon drinker could get into. And then you've got all of their private casts. I have to disagree with you completely. Some of the private casts are super exciting and interesting, and some of them are not my thing.
So,
like
what are you kicking out then? So you're just taking out the what?
The 10.
The 10 and maybe the 18.
That's
how it turns.
Yeah, the 18's out. 18 is super boring. I would say the 25 is in the same boat. I was not impressed.
Wow, he's not a fan of Signet.
I disagree.
We are totally different palates, my friend.
But I love espresso and I love coffee, so getting those notes. Also, it's one that changes a lot in the bottle. Actually, who was talking about that? I went to a Glenmoe tasting and they had
$70 a glass, man. That's expensive, eh? Signet.
Bill Lumsden. They had the other guy. I want to say David Blackmore. He was on there and he was explaining some stuff. And yeah, the Signet changes in the bottle over time, which is a really weird thing. And they realize that and they understand that happens for them.
We're not.
There's a couple of them.
I wasn't talking about IBs for Glenmoe. Like I love the 12-year-old Quinta Ruban. I haven't tried the 14 yet.
Yeah, IBs, they're private edition ones, like the Mealshon, Alta,
Special,
the Sinalta, the Finalta. There are a couple of good
like,
ones.
I'll admit that the core range for Dalmore is kind of 12, 15, 18. Like,
I made a whole video on that.
So like I agree. I'm gonna say it's boring. I'm just saying they're very similar.
Yeah, they're so similar that it's boring.
Yeah. But then if you go independent bottlings and stuff, then you're like, oh shit, this is what they can do. Yeah, no. Multi-Montreal, that's the best thing about whiskey, right? To each his own. If you like this and someone else doesn't, then more for you, right? So.
I agree with Richie though. The Sinalta PX is super good.
I've never had that one. So. Yeah,
the Sinalta was good. I like the Finalta. Aolanta was one I didn't get to try, but it got like super high marks. It's supposed to be one of the best ones they ever made. But I like the Mealshon super sweet, and I dig it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I dig.
Where you disappeared?
They had a bunch that they just in a row that got me, and then they came out with the Bacalta, and I was like, is this what we're really doing? And then they came out with the Alta, and I was like, all right, I'm kind of over this.
You done?
You guys have shaken me down for a couple $100, and I'm not getting anything.
All right, let's take some photos, man. We're already past a bit of time. We just started basically. I'm surprised we even talked this long. I have to admit, I am sad that I didn't get an extra bottle of this one.
Sad that I need to sort out my lighting.
All right. No, this is definitely one bottle I wish I bought more of.
Oh my gosh, I can't breathe too much at one time. It's just 65%.
I agree with Welsh Toro though. Like, I do think the Signet's a bit pricey.
The Signet is pricey.
But
I already told you guys what the cheap alternative to Signet is. Do you guys not watch my videos?
What was it, Westland's thing?
It's the Westland, yeah. The Westland has
American
chocolate malt also.
Yep.
And it's done, and you can get the same, like that espresso note that you get in there in the dark chocolate. It's there.
Yeah.
It's not as milk chocolate, but it's there.
It's also with Wonderback's batch 1 and 2, batch 1 more.
The chocolate malt also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. There's cheaper ways to get it. It's at $75 instead of $200.
No, but
and it gets you close, like 75%.
And if you guys have the opportunity to go try it at a bar, and then if you really like that, then buy the bottle. If you just like it, like that note, then go.
My drinking Caveman. Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
not promoting anything illegal.
All right,
Just
guys.
saying.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. All you guys on Patreon, thank you so much for your support. Getting closer and closer to get our challenge coins out. They're actually going to be Whiskey Entitled challenge coins stuff too. So, yeah. And on that note, what do we say here?
Fishing line.
Drink more whiskey. Deuces.
Deuces.